Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Now today's Sunday orchid chat is going to sound like I'm chatting about everything but orchids at the beginning. We will get on to orchids. But basically I'm filming this quite late on Sunday. The reason, I finally got to go to the Bonsai Society. Primary reason was to deal with my juniper, which is basically a bush in a pot. And buried in amongst that bush was actually a bonsai, and I needed help. I needed others with far more expertise than me and long-term experience, specifically with junipers in some cases, to actually look at it and actually decide what to keep and what to cut off. Because once you cut it off, you can't stick it back on. And I could see myself making some stupid decisions there. So I went along to the Bonsai Society. Now that starts at 9 on a Sunday, last Sunday of the month, until 1. Well, I don't have to stay till 1, do I? So basically I went along for 9 o'clock and got there a bit before when they were still setting up the tables. So I lent a hand, as one does, not putting the tables out, just putting the cloths on. And I was well impressed because there's a lot of people going now, because that Bonsai Society virtually failed after COVID and it took a long time to climb up. But there's a bonsai event I go to in July, I think it is, and it's in a field. It's like a boot sale, and it's some traders and some private sellers, and it's a smashing day out providing it's not raining. And hasn't been raining an awful lot prior to that because it's in a field, it would be muddy. That hasn't happened yet, so that's good. I met the new chairman and a few of the people that were members at that event on successive years, and basically they said it is picking up slowly but surely. So I went along a while back and yeah, it was okay. Now I haven't been able to get there for some time because it's a lot of times, because it's the last Sunday of the month, there's often something going on in the orchid world the day before, on the Saturday. And if it's a long day out or anything like that, I've had enough for that weekend, so I don't want to go to anything on the Sunday, so I missed a few. One day it was chucking it down with rain, I'm not having that. December they don't have a meeting, that used to be their Christmas do, but they haven't had enough people recently, so that was that. One of the Sundays was a talk, and the subject was of no interest to me, so I didn't go to that. So this is the first one I've managed to get to. I took my juniper along as a bush in a pot, and I've come back with a skeleton in a pot. And it looks awful at the moment to me, but with the amount of work and the styling that I've been given and told to do, or advised to do, you don't have to take advice, do you? I will make a bonsai out of it, but it needs a growing season with no repot, no root disturbance. It needs to get energy into the tree now. What's been going wrong with it is it's put on so much growth into a bush, the light hasn't got into the middle, and there's been a lot of dieback in the middle, which we didn't find out till today. So we need to put energy back in. So that's got to happen. And the last person who came along to advise me was Malcolm, who I've known for donkey's years. He used to be chair of Wessex many, many years ago, and he was a good chair. But basically he said, well, just pot it on. Put it in a big pot. Lots of new compost around there. Feed it heavily this year. Get it out in the sunshine. Get it to grow. And then next late winter, early spring, you can repot it into a reasonable sized bonsai pot. He said, don't take too much of the root system off, but grow it this year. Get the energy back into those shoots. So that's what we'll be doing. So that'll be a bonsai video to come. Yeah, I'm not sure when I'll do it. I'll have to be in the mood. And the first job really is the heavy wiring to get the few remaining branches into their position. I hope I can remember all this. Would have been nice to be able to film those people giving me advice, but I don't think that's on at the society, so it's all in here. I hope it stays there and can be brought out again. So that's that. I got rid of the 2 trees I didn't want, and I gave them to my friend Mike, who again I've known for donkey's years, and he said, well, how do you want to do this? I said, well, I'm not taking them home, so I want them gone. And he said, well, would you put a reserve on them? And I said, well, as I said, temporarily, let's put a reserve of £10 each on them, but that will come down if we get 2/3 of the way through this meeting and they're still not gone. Well, the first one went in the first sort of 15 minutes for 25 quid, so I was over the moon. And that's what was offered, I didn't ask for it. And then the next one, the guy was reluctant to say, and I said, well, you all right with 10 quid? Straight out of the pocket. So I got £35 for the 2 trees I didn't want. They weren't in decent pots. One was in a plastic training pot, and the other one was in a pretty rubbish, cheap Chinese pot. So I wasn't losing some nice pots, so I was happy with that. That now relieves some space on some bonsai staging that gets full sun for a fair bit of the day. I've got trees that need to go there that have been squashed up behind here because of the work on the decking. There's a lovely segue. The decking. Now, the decking project you've been aware of. Those of you who follow the other channel may have actually followed it in a bit more detail. Every now and again there's been a bit of detail on this channel, but it's Sunday today, obviously. Sunday chat, it's all in the name. And my son came over yesterday with a carload of tools, and I mean a carload of tools. And these are high quality tools built for a job. And for each job there was a specialised tool. Now, I couldn't possibly do that. You know, I mean, it's probably 1,000 quid's worth of tools there. But they get used in his line of some of his line of work. So he's actually a personal trainer, a life coach. That's his main thing. But he does other things. So anyway, he came over yesterday. He was a bit late getting here to what he said, but nonetheless it was around lunchtime. So we had a look, we had a think, we got tools out, and we got at it. Now, if you want to see what we got at and how it ended up by the end of the day, after all the tools were packed up and went away, go to the other channel and watch the video. I'm not loading it here. The decking is part of the garden. It goes on the garden and bonsai channel, as will the juniper bonsai when I get round to doing it. So there's a mid-session update in that video. This is how we've done so far, and then there's an end of day update, and this is how far we got between us. And that video got posted first thing this morning. Luckily my 24-hour block, thank you Google, talk about a muck up. It's over cautious. I understand the cautious. You don't want people hacking into your accounts. What annoys me most is that I have a YouTube channel that we're on here, Orchid channel, and I have a bonsai channel. Okay, it's used for garden and bonsai, but its title is bonsai, as in, you know, the low level Google email address thing. And basically you can't be running 2 YouTube channels at the same time. Google won't allow it. So you can only be active on one channel at any one point in time. So if I'm active on the garden and bonsai channel and I want to do something on the orchid channel, I have to switch accounts. So I do a drop down and it's got switch account. I tap on that or click on that because I'm on a laptop, and the other choice comes up, which is the other one. I click on that and away we go. Right next to switch account is sign out, and I missed and hit sign out. I didn't mean to. Now, I was on the gardening and bonsai channel at the time, so why did it log me out of the orchid channel as well? It logged me out of everything. So anyway, I needed to get back into the orchid channel, which was where I was going in the first place when I clicked the wrong bit. So anyway, I got over to the orchid channel. Because I've got monetization on, you have to have 2-stage verification. It has to be there. Stage 1 being your password. So anyway, you put your email address in, you put your password in, and then the main option that Google likes to use is to put a code on your phone. Because that's a pretty good way of verifying somebody. If somebody's trying to hack into your Google account, they're not going to have your phone as well, are they? Yeah, so I think that's a pretty good two-stage thing. So anyway, code comes up on my phone, I put it in, I'm back into the Orchid channel. Right, let's sort the Bonsai channel out. So, went over to switch account. Obviously the account I wanted to switch to is no longer there because I'd signed out. You following this? think I'm saying it right. So anyway, you have to click on add account. So put in the email address for the Bonsai channel. I put in my password and two-stage verification, send a code to my phone. I waited and I waited and I waited and it didn't arrive. So I thought, well, I wonder if I can try it again, get to send code again. So I tried it again, I waited and waited, no code on my phone. So you get an option to try another way. And the other way is to use your recovery email address and get an email sent to there with the code. So we try that. The email arrived with the code. I came back and put the code in and it promptly locked me out for 24 hours. It gave me a little countdown. Luckily that ran out about 7 o'clock this morning, which is when I got locked out yesterday. So anyway, I got back in. So both channels are up and running again. It's just so annoying that it's OTT. You know, anyway, that's that. So the video of the two clips that I did yesterday of the work on the decking is on the other channel, and I got that posted before I went to the Bonsai Society. Right, orchids. Yeah, I got some. I got a few. And on that note, I've got a feeling there's going to be a clear out soon because there's some pretty poorly performing ones that I don't think they're ever going to do anything, quite honestly, and I sort of keep thinking, you know, I keep putting water on them and hoping. And there's a limit, you know, there's a point where you get fed up and they're taking up space, you know, taking up time, you know, using some of my feed, you know, I just thought that, I think it's about time we had another Night of the Long Knives. Forget what I called it last time, I might have called it that, but that wasn't here. Or it might have been. I think it's more likely to have been around the other place. So I think we might have a bit of a clear out. Hannah's not down for a while yet, and at the moment, chatting to my son yesterday, I don't know which weekend Hannah's going to be able to come because there's so many events that involve the anniversary of the loss of my other son, and my son from yesterday, Tony, holidays, there's birthdays, there's all sorts of things, and they're all getting shuffled around because things keep changing. I'm not involved, not with any of it. I've just got to sit and patiently wait for Hannah to know which weekend she can come down. And if it's a fine weekend, I'm hoping to have most of the decking boards on by then. We might start putting stuff around the garden in the place it's more like the places it's supposed to be. I mean, the one thing I can sort of hopefully get on with now is painting up all the stuff that needs painting. Once some of the decking boards are back on, I can paint the fence and the shed, and I'm looking at possibly getting the felt done on the roof in the not too distant future. So there's that going on. But the bonsai staging, you know, the black staging, getting my table that goes on the decking painted black and the bench painted black so that we've got black and green that all matches in round the garden, starting to get it to look purposeful by design rather than random and scruffy, which is what we've got now. So my mind is out there for a reasonable amount of the near future. My mind is out there, there's stuff to do, and I want to get on with it so that by the time we get to midsummer and I want to go and sit on the bench for a couple of hours in the sunshine, missing my companion of course, but we have to get over these things, and I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not looking forward to it as the garden is now. So that's where my mind is. My mind is not in here. But in here we do still have a few repotting jobs to do. There's not a huge lot left that needs doing. There's some that could be done, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't get done, if you see what I mean. We're coming up to the Cymbidium repotting time. That'll interest some people. But the last main Cymbidium update that I did, you can go back and find the video if you want. If when I say that sort of thing you think, well, I don't know how to do that, you need to get onto my main channel page where you get the choices to look at videos and playlists and things like that. And select videos, and when you select videos, I don't think it matters what device you're on, apart from TVs, where you can't do stuff. But virtually everywhere else, there's a little search, there's a little magnifying glass. We'll put a word in there and it will go and find all the videos with that word or part of a word in the title. So just put Cymbidium in, or CYM will do. There aren't any other words that have got those 3 letters in, and it will bring them all up, and then you can choose which one. So the search is there, you can choose to use it, you just got to find it. So anyway, the last Cymbidium update, I identified those that will need a repot. Now one of them is Tiger Tail, that also is going to get divided. That's that one, just see the edge of it. But it's still in full flower, so that can't be done for a while yet. But there are others that have come into new growth. There's new growth starting, they've finished their blooming and everything, that's done. They're coming into their main growing season. Now's a good time to repot, because those new growths will be a set of new roots. And some of the really older roots on the older parts of the plant are useless. They're not working anymore. And I don't need to look. That's from watching other videos, especially at the Mathers Foundation with Jim. So yeah, there's still some work to do. We will do that. I will drink some of this in a minute. This is because I'm filming so late on a Sunday. We're heading towards tea time. Now, I had some oaty biscuits for breakfast this morning, and then I suddenly realised I was running out of time because I didn't want to get to the Bonsai Society late. I wanted to get there so that I could get away before it ended, you know, get away early. That was the idea. And so there's a little bit of a rush. That's all I had for breakfast. I haven't had any lunch at all. So I've got what hopefully will be a really nice tea and the luxury, I hope, of watching my favourite snooker player this evening, Ronnie O'Sullivan. That's if he doesn't win his match this afternoon and there isn't an evening session. He, as of the end of yesterday, he was 6-2 up. Now the session where he got 6-2 up, I started watching, enthralled at seeing my favourite snooker player playing again, and woke up halfway through the next match. So I didn't even see most of that. Now this is often what happens when I'm busy during the day, and then I settle down in the comfy chair in the evening with a glass of wine and the Zeds start coming out. It happened again last night, 10 past 11 I woke up. I normally go to bed around 9 o'clock. So I woke up really early this morning because I'd already had enough sleep almost before I even went to bed. So it messes me up when I fall asleep in the evening. And I haven't got anybody there to poke me. Oi, wake up! So yeah. So hopefully we'll have a nice meal tonight. I've got a couple of pork chops, and I'll have some roast potatoes and honey glazed parsnips probably, some peas, and I'll do some nice gravy to turn it into a sort of a roast style dinner, even though it hasn't got the roast, because my chops always get pan fried. But it will be like a roast dinner. So I'll have a nice fulfilling meal, come and sit down to watch the snooker with a glass of wine. You can tell what's coming next, can't you? I know what's coming next, because today I am physically quite tired and achy. My arm still aches from my flipping COVID booster jab. That was Wednesday. It's Sunday today and my shoulder still aches. Normally aches for the next day and a bit of the day after that. But this one's still aching a bit now. When I got up this morning, my shoulder was still quite stiff. It has loosened up. and it's nearly gone, so I think tomorrow it will be gone. Oh goody. It's the only vaccination that I will regularly take if it's offered. Now this time round the freebie version was for 75s and over, so I just qualified for that, so I got that. I don't have the flu vaccination and the various other things that are offered, but that one I do have. With a heart issue, you've automatically got a breathing issue, because if you're taking a tablet that slows your heart down and you call for energy, you start doing some physical work, like yesterday sorting out the decking sort of thing, bit of physical work, your lungs want more oxygen, and your brain or whatever, the little sensors and things say, right, come on heart, you need to beat a bit faster, we need some oxygen here, and the tablet says, you're not having any. Energy levels straight downhill, which is how I am now, and I have to put up with it. And I allow for it, so I do little bits, then have a little rest, everything gets back to normal, then start doing a bit more. So, yeah, there's only so much I can do. And yesterday was quite a lot, because it went over a long period as well. There was some carrying, there was some just holding pieces while cuts were made, or holding pieces while screws were put in. I wasn't doing the heavier work, Tony was doing all of that. Nonetheless, it was still busy all afternoon, right up past tea time. So quite tired today, so I'm going to be sound asleep in that chair this evening, I can tell. And then of course I've had enough sleep that when I go to bed I won't need that much, so I shall be up at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I mean, that happens naturally now sometimes, not always. I mean, I haven't got the fluffy alarm clock anymore, so I wake up when it's natural. And a lot of the time that's because I need to go to the loo, as one does when one's older. But most nights I go through, so we're okay. But some nights I'm up at 2 o'clock and then have trouble getting back to sleep, but I do manage, and if that happens and I do get back to sleep, I often don't wake up till sort of 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'd like to wake up that time every day. That would suit me fine. That's plenty early enough. Right, so we've got some work coming up. We've got no new blooms, and we're not likely to have any until that Cymbidium comes out. Let's put my wine down. Now there's 2 of these, and I noticed last time I watered that they are showing colour. So this is something Sabine or Sabine something. It is Sabine Mayer. It's a Dancing Lady style Cymbidium, and it's basically bright yellow and black, two tones, and the combination of those 2 colours is stunning. Not huge blooms, but you can see we are starting to see some colour, and some of the buds are just starting to crack. So there's 2 of them. This one's a bit more advanced, mainly because it's got a decent root system, which the other one hasn't got. But these 2 are going to be out soon, and those are the only new blooms for quite a while. There's a dendrobium up there that's got buds. Because they're such large blooms, they're going to take at least a month before they open, maybe 6 weeks. I've got a Prosetia type. It's one of those Guachera, or whatever it's flipping called, one of those made up things recently. That's got 2 spikes coming, showing buds. There's still quite a long way off blooming though. So we have got a little bit of new stuff to come. So that's that. The Nobelies have all gone over now, the Nobly dendrobiums. They finished apart from 1, and that one's only got 1 bloom on it. So that's a big show. That didn't do very well this year, I must admit. And then the sad thing is this lovely bright yellow Pleone that came from my visit to the Mathers Foundation. Nice video of the Pleone house. Yeah, that's on the Orchid channel, so you can find that. But that's going over now, so that's it for this one for this year. And that's a single bulb with a single growth. So all I can do is push that into the biggest, fattest, strongest bulb I can, so that with any luck next year it produces 2 shoots. Otherwise I'm just going to end up with 1 bulb each year, and that's all I'll get. Anyway, that's going over, that needs trimming off. And the one that everybody thought was absolutely marvellous, which was the red one, which is this one, and this was red colobus, or colobus, something like that. This is a gorgeous peony, combination of orange and red, absolutely fabulous. But as you can see, some of these are starting to go now, but some of them are still quite good. I mean, if you look at that bloom, that's still good. That's showing no signs of going over yet. That's a relatively recent one opening, so that's still okay. But the problem we've got is that one's going. When this one's gone, that's the end of the peony blooms for another year. Yeah? So I'm hoping to keep my peonies a lot cooler next winter, which means they will come into bloom a bit later. That's good. But I need to keep them cool. I need to accommodate their dormancy period much better than I did this year. Even though some of them I had no control over the dormancy, because I bought them as, you know, bare bulbs in the spring at Burnham's. But yeah, that's what we hope to do. So once this little pot full is finished, that's it. There won't be any more peony blooms till next, well, at least February, probably March. And then that's it. So what we will be doing as far as peonies are concerned is watching them turn into this, which is leaves. Now, what is interesting, if you've been following the peony updates, there's one that I was relatively confident might be virused, and I took pictures and took them to show David Mathers, and the traits were stripy bits on the leaves, not ridges. The leaves are ridged naturally, but stripy bits of different colours, yeah, and also some slight patchiness on the petals and sepals on the blooms. Plus the blooms didn't seem to last that long. But with discussions with others and comments on my videos, quite a few people said if they were a bit too warm as they came out of dormancy, and they've been brought into bloom in warmer temperatures than that particular variety, hybrid or species needs, then the blooms won't last long. And looking at some of the blooms at Mathers, with an assurance from David that they're not virused, some of the petals and sepals are slightly patchy. And in addition to that, some of their plants had stripy leaves. Now by stripy leaves I mean that. It's not just the ridges, there are paler stripes. Yeah? So what I think might be a virused potful, I think there's 3 bulbs in it. I will still carry on watering separately, but I'm not chucking them out. I'm going to wait until next year when they've had a decent dormancy at much lower temperatures and see what comes out next year. But that's what we're going to be left with in the next week at the most, is pots full of leaves. And in the case of this particular variety, it does a lot of that. Little bulbils growing out the top of the bulbs, as well as side shoots, some of which bloom and some don't. So that's where we will be. But that's my biggest potful, that one. So yeah, so we may not have a virused peony. Everything got watered over the last few days, so I've got a couple of days off, apart from my mounts obviously. Getting to the season now where some of my virtually bare rooted mounts are a daily job. The ones in moss are not so much a daily job, And those that might not even be alive are soon not going to be a job at all, because they're going to go on the list. The list of those that will no longer be in the not too distant future. Yeah, I mean, I can see there's one over there. Yeah, it's just one over there. And then over here, there's at least two, possibly three. So that's 4 mounts, plus there's 2 Restrepias that got mounted that didn't make it. So you add those in. All of those will just go. And the rest are mainly Oncidium types that just will not get going. For instance, you've heard me possibly talk about Derek's plants. This was the chair of the Bournemouth Orchid Society back when I was a member, who passed away, and he left all his plants to Orchid Society members. So despite probably being one of the first emails to show interest in wanting some, I was one of the last to be invited to get some. So I had the rubbish that was left basically, and those plants. Oh, sorry, it's a tool. I thought that's a strange noise for a child to make, although we do get some of those around here. Yes, so I didn't get very good plants, and all these years later, probably 3, possibly even 4, it's got to be 3, they're still not growing. Well, I've had enough. You know, I don't want them. Most of them haven't even got a tag, so I don't even know what they are. They're just Oncidium types. But so those are going to go. The sentimental value has worn off. It's too long ago. You know, I mean, I sometimes have trouble picturing the guy. It's, you know, it's too long ago now. And he wasn't like a close friend. He was an Orchid Society acquaintance, and because he was chair for some considerable time, you automatically know the chair because they stand out the front doing all the announcements and stuff. So yeah, those can go. I think I've got 8 in my notes, but in reality I've only got 4 plants. Because they haven't got tags, some of them have already been thrown out. I don't know which ones I've thrown out, so I don't know which ones I've got left. And then there's another tray of Oncidium type rescues up the back there, but most of those are starting to recover. So I need to have a good look and find out, you know, if you've been sat in this recovery tray for this long, you still haven't grown any roots, you're not anything special, in the bin, or in this case in the bag as I call it now. Used to be round the other place under the hedge. Who remembers that then? And I used to threaten plants. You know, if you don't buck up, you're going under the hedge. It's a lovely story about the hedge. It was literally the hedge in the garden. I used to chuck the plants in the bottom with their media. You know, I thought, you know, that'll rot down and help feed the hedge. Which meant I had to cut it more often. But yeah, I had a Cattleya that failed, and it got thrown under the hedge. And it was relatively early in the year, and towards the end of the year, I think I was chucking another plant into the same part of the hedge, and there was some green. I thought, what the hell's that? And I picked it up, and this Cattleya had started growing outside in the garden. And I brought it back in and potted it up, and it promptly died. Should have left it. It wouldn't have survived the winter, obviously, not in the UK. But yeah, so I managed to bring something back to life by throwing it under the hedge. But nowadays, I have a bag down here, and I put all my dead leaves and bits that I snip off and stuff, and when I do repots and stuff, the old bits, the old media, the dead roots, stuff like that, it all goes in a bag, and then it can just be, the top can just be tied up and out it goes. So makes life easy, doesn't it? I haven't really got anywhere out here in the garden to start chucking stuff. Not anymore anyway. Yes, the garden still looks a mess, but Hannah and I did quite a bit of tidying and sorting out what will be as soon as the decking's done. And I'm hoping that one day this week, I'd like to get this job stopped by rain, because I'm going to have to start getting the hose out in the garden, which is really annoying. It's only April. Goodness sake. April showers? Chance of be a fine thing. Not a light. And the forecast of rain tomorrow, Monday, coming in from the northeast and spreading down through the country. Well, they've changed their mind now. It fizzles out halfway down, so we ain't going to get any. So still no rain. And that was the only day with any rain, you know, any reasonable rain in the forecast. Then it goes back to sunny and partly cloudy and stuff. Ugh. So the garden itself is starting to get dry now, and you know, things are in their spring growth here now, so I think I'm going to have to get the hose on the garden itself. I shall still carry on using the watering can for the bonsai and the tubs, because I need to know how much. The hose is a bit improper, because you know, you put the hose in one of those garden tubs and it looks like you've flooded it. And if you dig down into the soil, it's only gone down an inch, it's not got down into the roots. Whereas if you use a watering can and you put half a watering can full in a tub, you know it's plenty and it will get down in it. And certainly with the bonsai, the hose is a bit OTT with the power, blasts all the bloody media out. Whereas the watering can with the, you know, with the fine rows on it, trickles the water into the top in a gentle manner. So we'll do that. So that's really it at the moment. I've now got a piece of staging out in the garden, those of you who know it quite well, over there, that's got my European beech, which is awaiting a repot. The buds are starting to move. I'm just waiting for green tips to show, and then that will come in here. We'll do a repot. It'll either go back in the same pot. I'd like to get it in a slightly bigger pot, but I can't remember what's in the shed, in the bonsai pot arena. But I'll go and have a look. If there's something a bit bigger that's not a silly colour to go with beech leaves, then we'll put it in a slightly bigger pot. It'll save me watering it quite so often. And then my Japanese larch, and the rest of that staging is now clear. Well, how much nicer that staging is going to look when it's been coated up with a couple of coats of the black. They just look nice, pristine, new, planned, whereas at the moment it just looks scruffy. So we've got that to do. The bonsai staging will come in here to be painted. I've got an old piece of carpet. I'll stop the paint get, well, the stain. It's a mixture of paint and stain because it's pretty thick stuff, but it is water based, so it's more like a stain, and it does soak in. If you put it on new wood, it soaks right in, so it is a stain really. But yeah, old bit of carpet in here, bring a bit of bonsai staging in, turn it upside down, do the bottom, you know, do the pole, do the underside of the top, and then next do that in the morning. End of the day, do it again. Next morning, up the other way, and do the top and the sides and the top of the bottom. Top of the bottom, yeah, you know what I mean. And get 2 coats on that, all nice and black, nice and shiny. Done inside. I can do it if it's chucking it down with rain. Chance to be a fine thing. And just do them one at a time and get them all nice and new looking. And then the table that will eventually go back on the decking, that's just the top. The wrought iron legs and feet, they're a green colour which should match in with the shed and the fence. But I'm going to do the top black to go in with the black, the rest of the black. And then I'm hoping to coat the bench up as black as well. That's fiddly because it's all flipping slats. And you might get away with not doing the underside of the slats on the seat itself, but you've got to do front and back of the back, you know. It's really fiddly doing a bench that's made of slatted wood, obviously. But, you know, I'll do that outside. I'll still use my bit of carpet so that I don't get stain all over the pavers. But yeah, so that'll be a continuing job over a period of a few weeks. But a fair bit of it can be done in here, which makes it not weather dependent, so I can still crack on with it. And I can do that in gaps when I'm not doing big watering jobs, you know, so that sort of thing. So that's the sort of workload coming up. But as I said, my concentration is out there at the moment. I want that lot out there sorted and the garden back straight again. If the decking hadn't collapsed, it wouldn't need much done to it at all. But because of that, it's made a big job of something that just has to be done. So I could just not have the shed, the decking, just do without it, you know. And the garden tubs that were sort of sat on the edge, making it look nice, we'll just put them somewhere else. Well, what about the bench then? We'll just put it in front of the decking. You know, I could have got away with not doing it, but it's well on its way now, and if you want to see how far we got, then go on the other channel and have a look at the video. I think I've plugged that enough, haven't I? Right, I'm going to leave that at it for today. Now, I know from looking in the week there is a new member, and I can't remember whether it's on Patreon or on YouTube. I think it was on Patreon, so apologies for that, but once I saw it, I did update the roll call at the end of the Sunday chat videos, so the new member is actually itemised and your name's there, it's marked as new. So again, thanks for being a member. Thanks to all those that are members and continue to do so. That monthly financial support really is quite important to me, so thanks for that. And for all the other contributions to the channel, non-financial, it's still more than welcome. What is that? Well, it's watching videos, watching some adverts, doing the thumbs up. Have you done it yet on this one? It's under your nose, come on. Thumbs up, that costs you nothing. And you could subscribe to the channel, although it's not quite so important for YouTube. It's nice for me to see that number going up. And YouTube sort of does take it. The notice it takes is it going up, not moving, or going down? And if it's going down, it will class the channel as failing. So as long as it's going up, that's good. So if you're not subscribed, it might be nice if you do so, simply because it costs nothing. And if you don't turn notifications on, you won't even remember that you've done it, which is why a lot of my subscribers possibly could have passed away by now, and YouTube will never know, because you get people that find a channel, oh, I like that, come back the next time and think, perhaps I'm not so keen, I'll watch something else. But they don't unsubscribe. So your subscriber count doesn't represent your viewers. The viewers give you your views on a video. And, it will be nice to see mine climbing, because that possibly would mean I get some new... My subscriber number, they go up at a steady rate. Month on month, it's a steady rate. It doesn't suddenly go up and it doesn't drop off. It just stays steady month on month. But it's a relatively low increase. So it's not going to upset YouTube, but it's not going to suddenly attract their attention. Let's put it that way. But it costs nothing, despite the expression. Subscribe normally means money, doesn't it? There's no money, it's just something you can do. And if you don't set notifications on, you'll never know you've done it, basically. Yeah, so there's that. And the new, well, it isn't new anymore. Don't forget your hypes. 3 a week, renewed. I think it's midnight on Sunday. But Monday morning, you'll have 3 new ones. And you put a hype on any video that you'd like to see pushed. You'd like to see YouTube give it a bit of a helping hand, a bit of oomph. And it's only for what YouTube sees as smaller channels. It doesn't have to be any of my videos. It can be any video you like that qualifies, which is the relatively small channels, less than 500,000 subscribers. Well, there's a couple of other things, but that's the main one. And if it doesn't qualify, you won't be able to hype. So, you can still choose the video, go in to try and hype, and if it doesn't qualify, you won't be able to. So you can find another one instead. Don't waste them. That's the bit I'm getting at. You get 3 a week. And it'd be nice to actually use them, because it's one of the first things I can remember YouTube doing that's actually useful and free. That's the bit that was really surprising. It's free. YouTube? Free? Unheard of. But anyway, don't forget those hypes. You need to be on your phone. You can't do it on laptops. And I think some other devices might do it. But it's something where you need to be able to swipe. So it's got to be something with a touch-sensitive screen. So that's my laptop out for a start. I have to go on my phone and do it, much to my annoyance. Anyway, please remember your hypes, don't waste them. Use them up how you see fit. And if you hype some of my videos, or quite honestly, you can hype one video 3 times if you want. Don't know whether you knew that, you do now. And that's often what I do, because I want to give something a real push. And the number of points that you can hype is geared up to the number of subscribers that video's channel has. The more subscribers it's got, the less points you get to hype. The less subscribers you've got, you can get, I mean, I've hyped a video and I've put 3,800 points on it. And others you put like, 250. So it depends on the number of subscribers. So anyway, that's that. And thanks for watching, because that is a form of support at the end of the day. Watching the videos, watching at least part of some of the adverts, and if they're short, watch all of them. Sneak, just go and make a coffee or something and let them run. I do that sometimes because, there are ways of getting around the flipping things, but you've got to think about it nowadays. What can you watch on a screen where there aren't adverts and it's free to watch? Give me a list. You'd be lucky to get more than one on your list, won't you? Think about it. Most of it's subscriptions, the likes of Netflix and things like that, Disney, and you have to pay, yeah? Well, YouTube's free. It's a free to watch service, but for the pleasure of watching it for nothing, you get adverts. And as much as I find them most annoying, but I've got premium, so on my Orchid channel I don't see adverts. When I'm over on the Gardening and Bonsai channel and I watch, somebody I've subscribed to over there, and I click on a video and an advert comes up, I sort of think, oi! Oh yeah, I'm only on premium on my Orchid channel, and it's a family thing, so I don't pay a huge amount, it's a very small amount. So anyway, that's the Sunday chat. I bet that's ended up going on a bit. Yeah, as usual. You know me. There's no point in me saying it's not going to be very long today, because it still ends up. That's how it is. Tough. You can always bail out if you get bored or get fed up or whatever, or find something else to do. You only watch to the end if it is of interest to you. I know some people leave it running in the background while they water their orchids or stuff like that, or fall asleep in the chair, whatever. But leaving it running in the background is actually really useful, believe it or not, because it means you've watched it from start to end, and YouTube loves that. Yeah. So anyway, that's it for today, and I will see you in the next orchid video, which won't be until Tuesday. And although there's been videos virtually every day this week, I did say I'm going to start going to a lesser schedule. So the next video will be Tuesday. There will be another Project N video for plant number 3. That might be Thursday, could be Wednesday, but it'll be around that time. And like this weekend, there's likely to be no video on Saturday on this channel. It's more likely to be one on the other channel. I've got nothing on this weekend, so I'm not away on any of the days. But I want to cut my orchid videos down a bit, because I'm guilty of doing what lots of people do on YouTube, is forcing a video out. I must post a video today. What the hell can I film today? And you look round like you're scratching the dirt, trying to find something to film. That's what I want to get rid of. When I've got something to film of interest, or that I believe is of interest, let's get on and film it and post it. And if there isn't, then just don't. So my posting every day schedule will become a little more erratic. You might get 37 bus syndrome, 3 on the trot and then not one for a couple of days. I'll see how it goes. But when I've got something I think is of interest, I will film it. Otherwise, I'll take a day out and perhaps do a bit outside. There is a lot to do out there. So there we go, and I will see you next time, which on this channel will be Tuesday. And bear in mind, there is a video on the other channel showing the progress on the decking saga, decking project as I'm now calling it. It was a saga when I didn't know what to do. Now it's a project. The plan's there, and a fair bit of that plan has been implemented yesterday with my son Tony. So if you want to see how we got on, float across to the other channel. If you don't know anything about the other channel, the link's in the description. Along with the link to join the YouTube membership or join the membership on Patreon. All those links are there. The one I always forget, there's also a link to my Facebook orchid group. Nobody's posted on there for about 5 days. I think it's getting forgotten. But it's somewhere where you can post pictures of your own orchids or pictures of a problem orchid, and you can ask, you know, what do you think I should do about this, or what do you think about this. There's some really good growers on that Facebook group, but you do have to join. It's a members thing. There's no cost or anything, and to be able to join, there's a question that you need to answer, and if the answer is YouTube, you're in. If you don't answer that question, you're not in. Don't care who you are. It's there for a reason. So that's that, and I will see you next time. Again, thanks for dropping by.